bias, an inclination or prejudice towards a group of people or a person, especially in an unfair way. Now, when I think of that word, two people come to mind: Arman Sarukian and Charles Oliveira. Now, Oliveira has a lot of fans that are biased for him, and Arman Sarukian the latter. Now, why do I say this? It's because Charles Oliveira has obviously been in the UFC longer than Arman Sarukian, and his reputation is a lot better. Arman Sarukian has been around also, but a lot of fans are only starting to notice him now. I've known him for over a year now. I don't even know, possibly even 2 years. But I always knew he was good, especially after watching the first fight with him and Islam. I could just tell this guy is a future champ. Not saying he's gonna beat Islam, but at some point, probably after Islam retires, Arman Turkyan's gonna be champ, or he could even beat Islam. Who knows? He is talented. He has the skill, but a lot of fans have their judgment clouded by Oliveira's legacy, or should I say, their over exaggeration of how good his legacy is, because Charles Oliveira obviously is a vet, man. I would say he's one of the greatest lightweights of all time. But you're very delusional if you think that Arman Sarukian didn't have a chance of even beating Charles. In fact, I picked Charles to win. I thought Charles was going to submit him at some point, because that's the thing about Charles. He could be losing a fight, but once he gets you in a guillotine or any type of submission, he's going to choke you out. He's going to submit you. He's going to find a way. He's very crafty with his jiu-jitsu. That's why you find fighters like Justin Gaethje didn't even want to go to the ground with him. It's because they know he's got that dog in him. And I love Charles, man, and it hurt me when Islam beat him. It really did, and I was so delusional. I wanted them to fight again so that Charles could get that belt back, but it just didn't happen. And if I'm being completely honest, if they did fight again, I think Islam would maul Charles, because look at what Arman did to him. Of course, it was a close fight, but man, come on. You don't know MMA if you think Arman is a better fighter than Islam. I'm not saying Arman can't beat Islam. He definitely can. This is MMA. I mean, Islam has been knocked out before. He's not unbeatable. He's beatable. Every single person that's in the UFC is beatable. Now, it's only about levels. Because for some people, there's a certain threshold that you have to pass for you to even stand a chance. And a lot of people don't pass that threshold, especially for fighters like Islam, John Jones, Khabib. These are like very, very complete. No, I can't say complete for Khabib, but you get where I'm going with this. I feel like Charles is he's glazed, and a lot of MMA fans refuse to acknowledge that he's been beat, he's beatable, and he might very well be beat in the future. Who knows, depending on who he's paired up against. And the moment you start to realize that is the moment you start having a winning parlay. Because don't bet with your heart, bet with your mind. Arman was the younger fighter. He's a much better wrestler. You saw how many times Charles had him in a guillotine and it just didn't work. I actually thought he was going to tap, but there's just something about these Russians. They just don't tap. I don't know if it's just a Russian thing, but I'm starting to realize it might also be an Armenian thing, because Arman Sarukian was compromised. I thought he was going to tap. We all did. I'd bet my whole house on this. Well, let me say my father's house, that he was going to tap, but he didn't tap. And I was just really impressed by that performance. I mean, it's how did we not know that he was going to beat Charles? Look at what he did to Benil Dariush. Now you could argue that Charles did the same thing to him, but Arman is just cleaner, man. He doesn't get his hit as much. His striking is a lot cleaner. He's faster. He's more explosive. Probably even stronger. It's just Charles is just really that guy when it comes to his jiu-jitsu, and I guess sometimes he relies too heavily on it to a point where he puts himself in compromising positions just for him to get a choke. And sometimes it works in his favor, other times it works against him. So we'll see in the future if somehow, I don't know, he gets back on the win column, because I'd really love to see Charles win. I'd love to see him get that belt again, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially with Islam and Arman around. A lot of people think Charles won the fight, but if you check the stats, Arman outstruck him, sorry. Like, it's just, you just have to accept facts, man. You might have a favorite fighter right now, but sooner or later someone better than him is going to come, or at least someone who's in their prime, while your favorite fighter is out of their prime, is going to come. And they're going to take it away from them. And you can either be delusional and try to convince yourself that your favorite fighter won. Or you could realize how great the guy who beat your favorite fighter is and start to be a fan of him and actually enjoy the sport of MMA instead of going in some comment section and saying Charles got robbed when he clearly got mauled. You know, just accept the facts. Charles is a great fighter. I'm starting to like him as well, even though he beat one of my favorite fighters, that being Charles Oliveira. I'm starting to realize he's just good, man. He's a great fighter, and you should tune into his fights, and maybe, just maybe, you'll start to enjoy the sport more instead of being the people that everyone complains about. Because I complain about MMA fans a lot. I really do. And yeah, so look into them, guys.